One thing I want to talk about today as I sip on my morning coffee is I want to touch on that every one of you guys listening to this video, you deserve to have a happy life, right? You deserve to have a good life. Not just survival, not just getting by, but actual peace, joy, and just real purpose. And I know it doesn't always feel that way with all the things going on with the world, with the news, the political stuff, the economy, the housing prices, the food, everything it may be. And you know what? Maybe some of you guys listening to this, maybe you've made mistakes. Maybe you made mistakes in high school. Maybe you made mistakes in your relationship. Maybe you made mistakes with past friendships, things like that. Or maybe you've even wasted time. And maybe all this is stacking on top and you feel the pressure building on your shoulders and it's weighing on you and it's weighing on you and it's weighing on you. And maybe it's weighed you down so much that you feel like happiness is something for other people, right? Maybe, it's just not something meant for me. It's whatever, you know. Some people they get their time, but nah, it ain't gonna happen for me. But I'm telling you guys right now, like, that's a lie, right? You're not broken beyond repair. You just need a purpose, direction, and you have to realize that you deserve it. I have another video talking about manifestation or the law of attraction. It's the same thing, right? Like, you have to believe deep down you deserve a life that's worth living. And this video is for the ones who feel like they've been stuck in the same place for years. Maybe the ones that know deep down that they were meant for more. And if that's you, stay with me, because I'm going to dive into a little bit about why you do deserve a great life, the mindset shift you can make to kind of get there, and really just like the path you need to take. And it's found in struggle. It's found in discipline and sacrifice. And we know that, but I'll show you exactly how to earn it. So the first lie that we've been told is that comfort equals happiness. And even myself, I've experienced this a lot, and I'll give you a good example. So recently I had switched. So I was working a sales job for the last year and a half, like my first SDR job at an AI startup, and I had left the company on mutual terms to go to a different company, which is more of an enterprise role, working larger deals, selling a better product. And the company's, it's just a better company overall, which I'm with them now. But there was a month and a half gap in between. There was some, basically the hiring got paused for this company for a little bit. So I had to wait an extra couple weeks before I started. And I was fine because I was debt free and had some savings that I've worked very hard to I had more than 6 months expenses saved, stuff like that. So I wasn't necessarily super stressed about it. But there was probably a 45-day gap between when I took this new job, my new day job. And I remember at the time I was hanging out with my friends. I was chilling a little bit. I was still going to the gym, but I took the extra time to kind of relax. And I was playing a lot of chess and stuff like that. And at the time I was like, man, this is awesome. I get some time off. I'm comfortable. I'm sleeping in a little longer. But honestly, guys, I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't actually make you more happy. It's nice to take one day off or something, or take a day or two off. But I've just noticed that when I'm working, right, I stress about work. But then when I'm not working, I stress about the work I should be doing, literally. And maybe that's a little bit unhealthy. I understand that, but society, social media, even your friends, they promote this idea that comfort and convenience are the goal. But quite frankly, too much comfort can become a trap, and you do trade long-term peace for short-term pleasure. And it's I'm all for taking vacations. I'm all for enjoying your life. I think you should do that. But I just think that you should know that you should still have a purpose and have things that you're accomplishing every day, whether it's a small win, whether it's making your bed and going on a walk, right? As you guys, this whole time period of my life I was talking about where I was off of work for a month, that was before I started the YouTube channel, right? This was back in January, February. So this is my exact point. Back then I was just, I was going to the gym, but I wasn't taking my diet and exercise as serious as I am now. I definitely didn't have as big of a social media presence as I do now. And I'm making more money than I was then, with my new job. And I love my new job, honestly. Most people demonize jobs, but honestly, man, I love my day job. I really do. It's a lot better than the last one, and I get a lot of freedom. They really just care if you hit your goal, hit your number, and if you control the inputs. It's basically like running your own business like your own book of business in tech sales, and it's honestly really nice. And I worked very hard to get there, but it's one of those things where just because like you have this comfort of having some time off or like things like that, it can become a trap. And I've just noticed in my own personal life, I can't speak for everyone else, but I have noticed a lot in multiple periods of my life that if I have an extended period of time off, sometimes it actually makes things worse because I like sleep in later and I'm like just kind of chilling around. And, maybe that's my own fault, but you have to be able to hold yourself to a standard, right? And hold yourself to kind of, a certain schedule or framework where you're saying, hey, I want a happy life. I want to enjoy it, but I also have to stay disciplined in what I need to do, right? Because the truth is, guys, and this, kind of tailors into my second point here, is discipline equals freedom. I think there's a quote by Jocko Willink, who's like this military guy. I believe he's like a former Navy SEAL. He talks about that, how discipline equals freedom. And I couldn't agree with that more. So like the happiest people, they aren't the most pampered and stuff like that. They're the most purposeful. They do the hard things now. They delay gratification. They say no to short-term dopamine. And that's how you build a life you're proud of. I love doing fun things. And I love, just chilling, whether it's with my girl, whether it's with my friends, or, going on a hike, going on a walk, playing some sports, whatever it may be. But that stuff comes after I do what I need to do. And I try to stick to that because, quite frankly, I'm happier when I know that I put in the inputs I need to do to get to the life that I want to get. And, things like waking up early, training your body, hitting the gym, going for a run or walk, learning new skills, showing up when you don't feel like it. Those aren't punishments. Those really are the entry fee to peace, right? You walk into an amusement park or a show or something, you got to pay an entry fee. You go into a movie theater, you got to pay an entry fee. The entry fee to a life of freedom, a life that you want, is going to come from making those sacrifices, right? Training, learning the skills, and really just building, from the ground up, right? And I know it sounds backwards with the whole discipline equals freedom, but it's the most liberating truth that you're ever going to hear, because you don't get freedom by staying in your comfort zone. I can't think of a single person who has done some crazy stuff with their life that didn't go through hard things. Even if you think of like some Dubai millionaire or billionaire that like was handed like an oil generational wealth family, if he didn't work hard, or like the people that don't work hard, they're still not happy intrinsically. You get internal utility from living a life with purpose and doing the inputs you need to do and doing the things you need to do. So I would say, guys, like you need to start noticing like the shift, right? And this ties into my third point is start small and build proof, right? You're not going to change your life overnight. You're not gonna change it even over a week. But most people, they overestimate, what they can do in like a month, but they underestimate what they can do in maybe 12 months or 3 years, right? You have to build trust with yourself. Start waking up earlier. Go for those walks. Cook your own meals. Don't be buying this seed oil crap with 70 ingredients in it and then you wonder why you don't feel good, right? Like I don't know if you guys, people who listen to this, I don't know if how much you guys are into the gym or diet and stuff, but it's like when you start eating good, like you start eating real foods, like whole foods, organic foods, grass-fed beef, steaks, stuff like that. When you like eat food that's not good, like stuff that has a process, like you literally feel bad, like literally, not only mentally, but like you get foggy in the brain, like you get like bloated, you don't feel good. Like I'm telling you guys, like once you start on this path, it's so hard to like want to go back, because it's like deep down that you shouldn't be doing that, right? And it's like you're not digging your way out of a hole by doing this. You're planting seeds, and it just takes time to kind of see that garden come to fruition, right? You got to plant the seeds now. We've all heard the saying, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, right? And I've said that before. It's one of those things where if you want this happy life, which I know if you're listening to this, I know you do. I know you want a life where you're happy, you have peace, you feel like meaningful, like when you wake up and you kind of like attack life with a purpose. Most people would say they want that. Like I would argue that probably 99% of people would say they want that, right? The problem is, they're not necessarily doing what it takes to get there, right? Or necessarily going the right way about it. And, you can be the person you admire, right? No one's coming to save you, but the beautiful thing is you don't need saving. You just need to become the kind person who shows up for themselves and actually sticks to their word and treats themselves the same way you would want to treat like a loved one or something like that. So the road is very hard, but so is staying stuck, right? So choose your heart. One's going to lead to regret, the other leads to real joy. And I don't know your exact story. Like, you guys listening to this right now, I don't know your exact story, but I do know what it feels like to be stuck. I do know what it feels like to feel behind. To feel like, the life you want is slipping away, right? And I also know what it feels like to fight for it. To wake up one day and say, I'm done with this crap. I'm done settling. I'm building something better. I'm building the happy life that I deserve. And I'm telling you guys, all of you do deserve a happy life. Not because it's handed to you, but because you decide to earn it. Through the struggle, through the discipline, through becoming the kind of person that doesn't quit when it's hard. And it sounds cliche, but you have to choose your heart, right? Life is going to be hard either way. So here's what I want to know from you guys. What's one thing you're going to do this week that your future self will thank you for? And what does your version of a happy life look like? Like if you could paint a picture right now and sum it up in maybe 2 to 3 sentences, what does your ideal picture perfect happy life look like? Let's figure that out together. But if this spoke to you, share it with someone who needs it, or, please consider liking and subscribing, because there are too many people, sleepwalking through life, and it's time to wake them up, and we all deserve a happy life. So Level Up Strategy out. See you guys in the next one.